Hey up everyone, hope we're all doing well. The fight to pay for the fighters at UFC Atlanta has just been revealed, and Michael Chiesa made the same amount of money as Kamaru Usman. And this seems baffling to a lot of people, but I'm going to explain why that is the case, and I'm also going to showcase what other fighters made on the card as well, because some may surprise you as well. But anyways, guys, if you love keeping up to date with UFC news, make sure to drop a sub. But anyways, we're going to get straight on into it. So here we have it, the post saying the Georgia Athletic and Entertainment Commission have revealed the salaries for all 26 athletes competed at UFC Atlanta last weekend, and we go through it, and you see Kamaru Usman made 300k, and you see Joaquin Buckley 150k, another big one. Rose Namajunas made the most at 500k, Miranda Maverick 125, Edmund Shabazian 186k. I tell you what, Edmund Shabazian for late 20s and fighting people like Andre Petrosky and Dylan Budke, making 186, 93 to show, 93 to win is quite decent in my opinion. And then we see a big one here, what a lot of people have been talking about, Michael Chiesa making 300k, 150k to show and 150k win bonus. I've seen a lot of people say, what the fuck? Why is that the case? Why is Kamaru Usman, former champion, not making that much and making the exact same as Michael Chiesa? Now, I'm going to explain this all to you guys. Kamaru Usman, I think this was his first fight night card in about 7 or 8 years. 7 or 8 years, and if you notice, it doesn't say 150 to show, 150 to win. That's because Kamaru Usman is on a flat base. He's on 300k. No matter what happened, he could get knocked out in 10 seconds. He could get a knockout in 10 seconds. Win, lose, it doesn't matter what the result is. Kamaru Usman, no matter what, will always make 300k. Whereas you have someone like Thug Rose, who she gets 250k to show and win. So if she lost that fight against Miranda Maverick, she would have only made 250k, which is still decent, but Usman is always guaranteed 300k, and people still think 300k, yeah, it's not that much considering, he's the second greatest welterweight of all time, made multiple title defenses and whatnot, quite a big name. You've got to remember pay-per-view points. Like I just pointed out, Kamaru Usman hadn't touched a fight night event in 7 or 8 years, almost a decade long. He had just been on all pay-per-views, constant pay-per-views, so I bet a big part of his contract was to do with pay-per-view points. I bet he was making a fuck ton from pay-per-views alone. And of course, this was a fight night card, so he wouldn't made anything else on top of the 300k anyway. I think he got a performance of the night bonus as well, so an extra 50k he would have got there. Nice and tidy sum. But when he was on those pay-per-views, the one with Hams out on short notice would have made a fuck ton. I remember the Masvidal fight, the first Masvidal fight, when it was still like, 2020, good old COVID times. The pay-per-view buys for that card in particular were through the fucking roof. There was so much hype for that fight because Masvidal had so much hype, took it on short notice. That generated a lot of hype. And Usman at the time obviously had a lot of hype, hadn't lost since his MMA debut or whatnot. So when he was on pay-per-view points and when he's on pay-per-views, Kamaru Usman will be making an absolute fucking boatload. Believe you me, buddy. But then you have Michael Chiesa, who also made the exact same as Kamaru Usman. That's where people start saying, how is this the case, considering Michael Chiesa, he isn't even in the welterweight rankings. Wherever you look, he's not in that top 15 rankings. Michael Chiesa is not there, but he made the same as Kamaru Usman, who again is a former champion, one of the greatest welterweights of all time. Well, I don't know if you guys remember this, but do you remember when Conor McGregor threw a dolly at that window on the bus where Khabib was on it? Him and his mates fucking smashed it in. Well, Michael Chiesa, he lost a fight because of that. Well, he didn't lose an actual fight. I mean, he didn't get to fight on that weekend. I think it was UFC 223. He was meant to fight Anthony Pettis, but when the glass windows smashed, it cut open Michael Chiesa, so he wasn't able to fight that weekend. And Michael Chiesa came out and took Conor McGregor to court, and he said, well, I was robbed of a title shot, because the opponent pulled out for Khabib. I think it was Tony Ferguson. The opponent pulled out and they took on Al Quinta, but it would have been me in that position because I was ranked ahead of Al Quinta, so I would have got a title shot against Khabib. So he was, claiming that, well, I was robbed of a title shot and my fight day in general, which is, true. But then they did settle on the lawsuit. They ended up settling, and let's be honest, that is because Michael Chiesa is now on a nice little contract with the UFC. The UFC probably interrupted him like, come on, hey Chiesa, you drop this, we'll give you a fucking lovely little desk job. You know, he's an analyst and all this. You get a nice little desk job, and not only that, you get 150k to show, 150k to win. So regardless, you're always going to make 150k no matter what. And this happened late 2022. So if we go to Michael Chiesa's record, you know, I know in the thumbnail I've dripped, but he's dog shit. He's not dog shit. He's just kind of a gatekeeper. He's a decent gatekeeper in my opinion, but he's dog shit to watch in my opinion. Think it's disrespectful. It kind of is, to be fair, but I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You'll batter me in real life. There you go. But if we look at it from late 2022, so late 2022, you know, he was losing in 2021 to Vicente Luque and Sean Brady. But then we get past 2022. The first one he gets is Kevin Holland, where he loses via Darce choke. Now, some of you may look at that and think, oh, you know, he was always going to lose to Holland, but he was actually a slight underdog for this because Holland's always so inconsistent, so it was kind of hard to tell. But then he went on to take on Tony Ferguson, where he was the favourite. After this, he takes on Max Griffin, and I think, was he in the favourite? No, he was a near even for that, but let's be honest, he should have been the favourite. And then he's just took on Mark McGee in an absolute shitfest, and won that one as a moderate favourite. So he's been getting some nice, very, very nice matchups from the UFC recently in recent times. The only bad one really was Kevin Holland, but even then, if you beat Kevin Holland, he would have got some nice matchups again. And before that, I think it was the Magny fight. Was it revealed? No, it wasn't the Magny fight. It was one of these fights around here. We saw that he used to be on a 52 to win, 52 to show. So that's a big jump, 100k jump, you know, and he's gone from maximum 104k to win and show up to now he's making 300k if he's able to win and show up. That's a massive fucking difference, an extra 200k, and remember, he's got that desk analyst job. But we are going to look at some others. I know there's a lot of people questioning why that was the case, why Michael Chiesa makes the same amount as Kamaru Usman. Well, he doesn't, just for this instance, and when it comes to a fight night card, he would make a lot more than Kamaru Usman. But if this was on a pay-per-view, it would be a completely different story because Kamaru Usman would get a very generous amount from pay-per-view points and whatnot, especially if the pay-per-view does well as well. But we'll look at some more. Alonzo Menifield's on a nice little lump sum, 125k to show, 125k to win, 250k altogether, which is fucking mental. I don't know how Alonzo Menifield's been able to get that, but fair play. Also, back onto Michael Chiesa. He has been in the UFC since what, 2013, 2012, so he has been he has been with UFC for a very long time. Phil Rowe, 55 to show, 55 to win. Okay, nice. There's some decent ones here. Rayoni, but Cody Garbrandt, 275k just to show. So if he had won as well, he would have been on a nice big sum as well. So there we go. We have some decent little. It's just, I think it's always quite fun as the fans just see what they actually make, and some of them make some decent money, man. I mean, Joaquin Buckley, he was just 150k to show as well. If he had won this fight, like a lot of people were expecting, he was a big favorite, he would have made 300k altogether, the same as Michael Chiesa, which is crazy. But yeah, those are all the fees that people got for UFC Atlanta. Let me know in the comments, what were you expecting, what were you not expecting. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.